we're getting closer to decision day around these leagues in all the world. And Alex Zendejas is in a prime position. It feels like we always get to this instance. America are back-to-back Liga MX champions, and Zendejas, Tom, has always been playing a role in America's success.
He's unquestionably one of their most important players in this historic run of form, going for their fourth Liga MX title in a row. What I like about Zendejas is the way that he fits in with better players around him. He's one of those who gets elevated by having more talent around him rather than the team being built around him. And what I mean is, you go back to the 2023 Gold Cup. He was the leading player on like a B/C U.S. national team group. At that Gold Cup, he wasn't very good. He's not somebody who you need to build the team around. He's somebody who can elevate those around him and himself when he's in the team with, you say it's a Pulisic or say it's McKinney or like whatever you think the best choice U.S. men's national team roster is. That's where I want to see him get chances. And right now, it hasn't been enough of that, but I think he's earned another look.
Yeah, the big thing is when that jersey changes from Club America into the U.S. men's national team, I want to see that same quality. Yeah. And I think it
feels like the USMNT jersey is Chivas colors. And he thinks he's playing for the rival team, huh?
No, but it seems the weight of the jersey is a bit too much at times when he plays for the U.S. men's national team. You can't question his effort. You can't question his willingness. But I think his intelligence of movement, his awareness of where the space is at the international level, that's what's been missing and disappointing. And that's why I think he's on the outside looking in. And that's important for a player who can play in the half spaces for Club America, who has a knack for getting in on goals. How do you do that playing off of Patrick Ajiman, a Haji Wright, a Flo Balogun? At the international level, that's how you get into a lineup.
I mean, to play devil's advocate here, and actually it's not even devil's advocate, it's just being real. I think that happens to a lot of players right now in these last couple of windows where you say, hey, they're playing really well on the club team. They're role players on their club teams. Although they're very important pieces to the puzzle, they are not the main piece. But the one big difference, the one differentiator from this argument is Christian Pulisic. Who knows he's that guy, right? Christian Pulisic has put basically his two best club seasons back to back, including this season. I mean, he's playing in a cup final alongside Yunus Musa. There's a plethora of other Americans playing in cup finals, including Johnny Cardoso, Chris Richards, probably not Matt Turner, in the FA Cup final, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Arsene Trusty in the Scottish Cup, and this is actually a really fun one, Mael Corboz. This is the DFB-Pokal final, the German Cup. Arminia Bielefeld is sitting in the Drei Liga. That's the third tier of German football. They just got promoted to the Zwei Bundesliga. It's still an odd career path for Mael Corboz, who has never played in Major League Soccer. I don't think any of us have heard of him, except the Call It What You Want guys that did interview him, and catch that interview next. They're in the final play against Stuttgart. But let's stay with Pulisic and let me finish off this rant, because my question is, where do we want Christian Pulisic to take his game to in the next season after, I mean, being very, very, very good domestically in Italy?
So the point you made was very salient of, are you a role player with your club or are you somebody who's shouldering the burden? And that's what he's done for AC Milan since he's arrived. And again, Rafael Leao, there's a lot of other really good players in the team, but particularly this year with Milan down, a lot of it falls on his shoulders, just like it does with him with the U.S. national team. So when I look at Christian Pulisic, the way to push this forward and what I hope to see over the next 12 months getting into the World Cup is, can Christian Pulisic be to the U.S. men's national team what Xherdan Shaqiri is to Switzerland? So Shaqiri in Europe has had more trophies than Pulisic, no doubt. He's played at some bigger clubs, but he has never had an individual season like either one that Pulisic has had at one of the top clubs he has been at. But every time a tournament comes around, Xherdan Shaqiri with Switzerland is making this team from a good competitive team to a knockout round constant. So can Christian Pulisic do that with the U.S. men's national team? I absolutely think he can.
My question for you is, though, where does it change from a responsibility perspective from Christian Pulisic, that is arguably Milan's best player this season, but he's not the guy?
Yeah.
Rafa Leao is the guy, right? So how does he become that guy? How does he shoulder that responsibility for the national team where he is that guy? Do you ever see him becoming the focal point of Milan, for example?
You could even say Tezadi Reinders right now is the guy for Milan, right? Christian Pulisic is so many things. You can't question his commitment. You can't question his drive. There's a reason why, under a poor season in Milan, that he's emerged, because he has the character intangibles. And we've been fortunate to get an insight through the Pulisic documentary into the psychology of what's behind Christian Pulisic. I want to see that dog in him, right, Nico? The one time I've seen that dog in him, going back to that match against Mexico, the famed man in the mirror, he's got that in him. I want to see him unearth that and make that a constant. Players that transcend from good to really good to world-class players at all different level, they have a belief, a confidence, but an arrogance about him. He's a humble kid. He's a humble guy. He's confident, but I want to see that arrogance. I want to see that animal about him that we've seen in spurts with the U.S. men's national team, because with Milan, yes, he gets the goals, but when was the last time we saw him completely take over a match? Where when we see the highest level players, toying with the team at one point, getting a goal the next, saying, you know what, I'm good on this left-hand side. Let me go to the other side, get a couple passes. That's the next cheer for him, and he's got it in his locker.
Yeah, making the game his, essentially, right? Saying, all right, I'm going to make things happen. I'm going to finish this game off. Although in the big moments for the U.S., I know that we haven't really seen these performances that wow us, that kind of make us dip back in our chair and say, this is incredible. Save for World Cup, I think, against Wales. He decided to be that guy against England, although they didn't get the result they wanted, which is obviously a victory. You know, a lot of these guys stepped up to the plate, but what we want to see is week in, week out. Not week in, week out. Every time that the U.S. plays, we want to see that type of commitment on the field from a lot of these guys that we're not watching. And obviously, you lead by example. I go back to the Luis Enrique chat with Mbappe in the Champions League from last season, right? And how basically Luis Enrique had to get Mbappe to commit the work ethic. And if Mbappe went first, everyone was going to follow suit. So I think it's something similar to Christian Pulisic. But I feel like we're talking way too high of the spectrum with American players abroad. Mael Corboz for Arminia Bielefeld. What a story. That's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, Tommy Scoops, man. How many times do we see players, and I think this is becoming a new phenomenon for the U.S. men's national team, or a rebirth of a phenomenon, right? Players that are playing, and we see it in, I think for Cologne, there's another one, Damian Downs, that's already playing in the lower leagues of Germany or the second division. And this is a player that's in the midfield, and the Arminia Bielefeld story is incredible to watch. Can you imagine a kid that is playing in the third division in Germany that could, over 90 plus minutes, end up in the Europa League? He's going to be, and he should be, on Mauricio Pochettino's radar, because in the midfield right now, that's a stretch.
Come on, man.
Hear me out.
Don't make us say something mean about a great story.
Hear me out on this. If he wins the DFB-Pokal, bring him into a camp or something. Give him a chance to be in the camp. He's got momentum behind him. You never know.
This is so unfair what you're doing to me. So this beautiful, wonderful story about this American captaining his German club in the third tier of Germany. And instead of me getting to talk about he's a Jersey boy, hell yeah, love to see all this, I have to be like, no, you're being ridiculous. He should not be anywhere near the national team picture, and that's okay.
Okay, so let's understand who's being ridiculous. What were you going to tell me about him being a Jersey boy?
That's all. It was just going to be me looking at the camera and saying, shout out New Jersey. We travel the heart of soccer in America. Shout out Tony Miola. Where's Tony when I need him?
Love it. Listen, this is one of those crazy football career paths that for Americans actually exist. This guy never played in the United States. He found life in the lower tiers of German football. He's going to get promoted. He's the captain of the team into Zwei Bundesliga, which is pretty good, and possibly playing Europa League as a second-tier side.
USMNT? I thought that's what you were going.
Yeah, maybe.
You almost had me.
Maybe for a January camp.